8 feet tall. It was probably a little taller than us, but I was a tall kid anyway. And we were standing on the side of this hill, and we looked to the right, and there was a bit of a bump. There was a wash that went down the side of the hill, which kind of created some curvature. And so I looked to my right, and I see something that I thought was on the ground, and it was dark. And as I kept looking, it was the tip top of this creature's head, and it crested the hill to my right and was running right towards us. And as it ran, I could see its full silhouette. I have no memory of its face at all. It was like I didn't see a face. I saw a silhouette. And but I could see that its hands went touched the place on its body that's lower down than what is for humans. The fingertips were touching somewhere below the knee, more like a primate. And as this creature ran towards us, I could hear it inhale and exhale with every running step. It wasn't running like a sprint, but it was not walking either. It was a very fast pace towards us. I could hear its breathing, and my friend and I were terrified, and we ran from the spot, and we went back with an adult, and we tried to have someone investigate, and I was so scared that I was literally scared stiff. I was terrified and could not move. I was frozen, stiff as a board. So I then found a book called Monster, Myth, or Man, and it was by Peter Burns. And there was some information in the back of that book about how to write to the Bigfoot Research Center, whatever it was at that time. It wasn't the BFRO. This predated that. This was in 1976. And I wrote them a letter, and they kind of brushed me off because my sighting was in the Midwest, and their predominant thinking at the time was that Bigfoot really lived in the Pacific Northwest, and they didn't really accept sightings outside of that area. So they're like, thanks for the letter, kid, but we don't think that's what you saw. So, but that's a very educational moment for me, because I knew right then and there that I saw something up close and personal that was real, that defied everything that we're taught in school, defied everything that we're taught within our families about what the world is and what's in the world, and just opened up that possibility. And I also knew what it was like, unfortunately, to be a kid and be telling the truth about something and not be believed because you're a kid.
Yeah.
And that in its own way kind of helps me mature a little bit, because I realized that it wasn't really a level playing field. But after that, the local library, and I checked out all the books on the paranormal that they had. Over the next couple of years, I read everything about poltergeist activity, mediumship, seances, everything they had, and just immersed myself in that. And I've always had a lifelong interest in that. And I worked in the field of psychology for several years, and I've also worked in the entertainment industry. And I had been a newspaper reporter at one time. And so all of these skill sets came together, and as I saw people doing shows on YouTube, especially people like you, and seeing what other people were doing, I just kind of thought, you know what, I can do that. And so I thought I would throw my hat in the ring. And the concept of my show, Mysterious Forces Live, it evolved over time. There are comedic elements to it. I want the feeling of the show to be more like a late-night TV talk show, where it's, you can talk about serious topics, but there's also some poking around and making fun of stuff, and poking at people with humor, which I find funny. And the show's still trying to find its legs. Viewership is growing weekly, which helps. But I had some trivia questions in the middle of the show that weren't working because I just didn't have enough viewers to make that a rich experience.
Yeah.
So I put the trivia questions on the side for now, and when viewership grows, I'll get back into some of that maybe, but I've just been focusing on interviews. And speaking of interviews, the one that I conducted with you at Contact in the Desert in June is a great interview. And I may put an edited version of that on my YouTube channel, but because I'm trying to monetize, I have to kind of closely monitor the language on my YouTube channel. And when my website is finished, I will put that whole interview unedited and uncensored for people to check out at my website.
I wonder why you would have to edit it and censor it. It's like
well, you could put it up on YouTube uncensored. Just you don't monetize that one video. Yeah, you don't have to monetize all the videos you're trying to monetize. Like if there's some videos, say you do an interview with somebody else besides Jiggy, and it's a really good interview, but they drop some F-bombs and stuff, and it might not be able to be monetized. You can still put it up, and just don't put it up for monetizing. That way your viewers and everybody can still get to see it.
What you can do on the website, whatever.
Yeah, the website too is work. But just so you know that because we don't monetize. I mean, if we could, I can go back and monetize some older videos, but
right.
Because it's your choice to monetize or not.
Yeah, whatever.
I get it. I see.
I don't even remember dropping F-bombs. I dropped the F-bomb.
I'm kind of new to the YouTube game, so I'm not super well versed in exactly how all of it works.
Trust me, he knows more about it than I do. I don't know anything about how to just kind of get on here and
know much.
Talk and smile. You know more than I do, shit.
What are you guys smoking tonight?
What are we smoking on tonight?
Blue Dream and Lemon Headband.
Wow.
That's funny too. I'll tell you, Natasha, because we had discussed that like that whole time. Because when I got to Contact in the Desert, I was so into the vibe, so into talking and meeting people, spending time with Billy Carson and stuff, and certain individuals who I really hung out with and got to know. But I didn't smoke weed until like the third day, and that was the cool thing about Cali. Like I had never been to a dispensary. It's like I walk into this dispensary and they sit you down and they ask your ID and everything, and you wait, and then it's like Mr. Webb, and you walk in, they open the door, and it's just like like someone just it was so beautiful. It was just. And then there was everything.
It's also a wonderful thing when they just bring it to you.
Yeah, that's what the guy, because I went to the first dispensary and they were closed because he said they were doing inventory or whatever. So it's like, yeah, but there's this other place that will deliver it. But I was like, I wanted to have the experience. Like I wanted to walk in, see what was there, check out the joint, look around. And like they had and that's what the woman said. She was like, so what would you like? And it was like the price is right and shit. Like she opened up her hands and everything. It was like, we've got this, and she explained everything. And then the edibles, and are you into edibles today? Do you want like uppers, down? Like what do you want to do? Like I can do whatever you want. Whatever you need is right here. It was such an awesome experience. I loved it. I'm going back to Cali 2 weeks, and listen. I'm not gonna wait as long to smoke this time.
Yeah, it's it's a little bit of a different scene when it's medicinal here in Arizona, where I'm currently. It's medicinal, and it can be pretty uptight, and It could be uptight or loose in California when it was medicinal, but I was recently in Colorado where it's recreational.
Hell yeah.
And to just be able to flash an ID and show that you're of legal age and go into a dispensary and not have to do it under the pretense of medicine, which is legitimate, don't get me wrong.
Right.
Medicinal use of cannabis is totally legit, but at the same time, I also believe in legalization on the recreational level as well.
Right.
And to just go in there in a no-pressure situation and able to shop around and see what the inventory is.
I mean,
that's the way it should be, It's safe, it's clean, you know what you're getting.
Yep.
And it's a lot different than a lot of the crap you have to go through in the black market, because as we most of us probably know from long experience, the black market has a lot of pitfalls and can be very problematic at times. And the dispensary system is just safer and cleaner, and I think the quality of the medicine is much higher.
Right. And like you said, it's medicine. It should be like going to this. They don't ask you for ID to buy aspirin and shit. I mean, it's medicine. Like, you should be an adult. I mean, I guess, from a child standpoint, whatever, but the experience should just be, go in, get your thing and move. As long as you're of legal age, keep it moving. It shouldn't have to be a whole lot of paperwork or anything. You should just be able to go in and get it. But, you see as the states and stuff more and more start to legalize it, more get behind it, I'm sure the whole process everywhere will get easier. Because even here, I don't think we have one recreational dispensary that's opened up yet, at least nowhere nearby that I know of. So, as the walls come tumbling down, in a manner of speaking, it's becoming much more easier to do it, and it's smart, and it's what should be happening. And the other thing is like psilocybin, like mushrooms and stuff. You see the push for that too. You also see that some states are starting to say to use it to treat depression and stuff like that. So the medicinal aspect of that too is starting to kind of take hold, and people see the benefits of that too. And you can see a point where they're going to legalize that the same way in some of these states. So as these things happen, I think you're going to see it get easier and easier, and that's just the way it should be. I think that's exactly the way it's supposed to go, and hopefully at some point they'll, on the federal level, just let that go, ease up on that too, and at that point then it's kind of the situation for everybody, I think, will be a lot better.
Yeah, Jeff Sessions is so full of shit. They drive me crazy. I have a feeling that Jeff Sessions may have better things to do with his time than to keep fucking around with people who use marijuana. The country has real problems that need tended to, and marijuana, in my opinion, is not a problem as long as it's used responsibly and moderately. And I don't think it's everyone. Not everyone uses psychedelics. Pot is not for everyone. I don't think it's a panacea, but it is most definitely not for millions and millions of people. And this prohibition is like a bad joke.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, again, it's coming down. They see the benefits of it. Just eventually, like you said, Jeff Sessions, all these folks will have better things to do. Well, first of all, they need to focus on the whole opioid epidemic. That's where the money and all the time and everything spent and the energy needs to go. But we also know that, I mean, that's big business for them. So the poppy fields and everything that they fight over and stuff. So that's one of the reasons why they don't actually take on the real elephant in the room. They literally don't want to tackle it the way they should. They kind of throwing band-aids on gunshot wounds and a whole lot of posturing and talking, but nothing is being really done about it. Boston here, there's people all complaining about it yesterday. Like, they literally have a street that just looks like just people just camped out all there using drugs. They're all just sitting there doing. They know that's where it's done, but they're allowed to sit there and do it, and nothing is being done about it. They're sending them to a treatment facility that's right there. They leave the facility and go outside and shoot up drugs, and they're not doing shit about it. So that's the one thing they don't really want to tackle. They rather focus their attention on shit that doesn't make any sense. But you also see a lot of governors and stuff, and even mayors and certain local officials and stuff, who are starting to let people go, like throw out these cases and stuff. Like, wait, just throw these cases out. Like, why are we still fighting these cases? Why are we still prosecuting these folks on petty crimes and petty marijuana and stuff crimes too? So there's still a good wave of motion that's going in the positive for it too.
Absolutely, and I do want to concur absolutely that the opioid crisis is indeed a real crisis, a real health crisis, and it's unfortunate. Addiction is an unfortunate problem in our society, but I think as we're starting to understand, addiction kind of transcends even drugs, because people get caught up on social media or sex or food or any number of things, and it's really about, in my opinion, the fact that we've kind of evolved as a species to this point, and now that we have quick, easy access to a lot of the things that we like and enjoy, it falls upon us to exercise self-control and moderation, and we're not really good at that yet.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we kind of, again, we throw band-aids on gunshot wounds when it comes to all of it. We just kind of fall deeper and deeper into the Matrix. I mean, we'll just go watch the Matrix. If this isn't the Matrix, I don't know what is. We just constantly see folks who, like you said, are addicted to everything. We all, on some level, have some kind of addiction to something, and it's just about trying to learn how to moderate these things and kind of put it all into perspective and not let it overcome your life. a lot of it too, like even ourselves, it's like our addiction is kind of researching this stuff, like trying to find stuff. I mentioned earlier before we were off air, but once you kind of go down that rabbit hole, you open up that door. It's a deep rabbit hole, and once you kind of creak that first door, open it, and you look down and you're like, whoa, okay, your first conspiracy or your first encounter or whatever it is, however you kind of reach that point. Like for you, it started with Bigfoot. For me, it started with a ghost. It started with seeing my grandfather, who I had never met, who died before I was born, as a ghost. And clearly seeing this man and talking to my grandmother in the room, and she showed me a picture of him, and it started from there. But it wasn't to a point where I had my whole brain issues and stuff, and I've discussed all this with you, where it kind of led me down a different path. It kind of turned the light on, and once that light switch goes on, again, like I said, I went down that rabbit hole, and it starts at like Coast to Coast AM and stuff, and then YouTube was growing at the time and stuff, so you start to see UFO posts and Bigfoot posts and all these different posts, and you're just like, all this fringe stuff, as people call it, there's something real to all this. Like somebody got on me on Twitter earlier and said, they were mad because I put up a picture of Agent Orange as an infant. When he got off the plane during 9/11, he had his hands in the air like, oh, this was a victory or some shit. And there's a picture of him as an infant going into like a Chuck E. Cheese. And somebody got offended and said, politics has no place in the paranormal. I'm like, if you don't think everything is paranormal, first of all, politics are one of the most paranormal things, because if you really break down everything, where stuff started and what they do and how these buildings and obelisks are constructed and stuff, the Pentagon, why is it the shape, and they've got buildings that look like swastikas and crazy shit. When you really do the research, you realize that it's all paranormal. And politics is definitely paranormal, and it has a lot to do with the path of our life and what we can and cannot do and how it's monitored and where we're led and where we are right here in 2018 and how there's problems and people don't like these people and people hate these people, and now you're all of a sudden you turn around and they want to make a space force. That's not paranormal. They go and shut down 7 observatories, which we were talking about in the news earlier, and supposedly somebody has these images of these ships that came out next to the sun and stuff like that. So if they don't think it's paranormal and politics don't have anything to do with paranormal, they are sadly fucking mistaken. Excuse me if that word offends you too, or anybody who's listening who's a fan of hers, but this is kind of how we talk around here, so please don't be offended. But if they don't think that all this stuff is paranormal, they are sadly mistaken. They're not doing research. They're only researching their one aspect of the paranormal, which is normally for most people ghost. But that's not it. It's a whole lot of other stuff that is paranormal. You need to research all of it, or don't come and tell somebody what is and isn't paranormal if you haven't done your research. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's been I don't want to get too far off of what you're talking about, because I think it's a valid topic. But I had a personal experience myself. I won't name the local chapter, but I went and I stuck my toe in the MUFON pool last year, and I found a lot of conservative people in the local meetings, as in they were wearing political T-shirts to the MUFON meetings, and that didn't really fit well with me. I didn't feel like the meeting was a place to bring your type politics in. But I think what I discovered, really kind of surprising to me, is like the people who are into the paranormal and into ufology, cryptids, and all this stuff. They come from across the spectrum. There are a lot of ex-military people that are in this. There are a lot of ex or active police officers. And so there are some conservative people, as well as very liberal, kind of more on the new age spectrum of things. And then, there are the proponents of psychedelics, as well as the other stuff, folks like yourself and me. And, there's just a wide range of people in this. And I'm hoping that the paranormal and ufology, all of this stuff can kind of act as an umbrella to draw lots of people from different political backgrounds together, and maybe they can find a way to get along and coexist within the realm of doing this research, and maybe learn from each other in that way.
Good luck. Let me just interject there real quick. Good luck. And all my years of doing all this research, people scream about paranormal unity. It's just like in everyday life. No, not every group, not every person can get together and have the same beliefs. And the problem is just clashing. Like, they don't understand. If you just don't like something, if someone's saying something in a way that you don't believe, you can intelligently approach them and give them your point of view. And if they just don't accept it or you don't accept theirs, just move on. You don't have to take it personal and stuff. People take this stuff extremely personal, your points of views, how you see things. They don't have your experiences. I said this earlier.
Until people get their egos in check.
Yeah, it's not, my job is not to tell you that something is paranormal. My job is not to tell you that I saw a UFO. My job is to try to bring it to you. Whether or not you believe, again, whatever we put out there, we might see something, somebody else may not. We might hear something, somebody else may not. You're not going to get 100% of people to agree. So I don't even try for the paranormal meter. My thing is just try to reach the people who are willing to have an intelligent conversation, present their information, whether it be flat earth, whatever. We can have an argument if you want a little bit, but we don't need to argue to the point that we're going to just not ever want to, talk or just go on about your business. I don't really want to argue either. I'd rather have an intelligent conversation and try to get your point of view. Just give it. And most people, especially when it comes to things like flat earth, don't have a whole lot. They give you like the basic top 10 information, then they don't want to give you any more. Then, well, that's it. But the earth is flat. Okay, cool. You're allowed to believe what you want to believe. But again, just if you want to have a conversation, have a conversation. Psychics, mediums, there's a lot of things I believe in. I just believe that so many of these folks who claim to have powers and stuff, it's because it's popular. It's become kind of like a trend to be an investigator. It's become a trend to have an experience, and so many people want to have experiences that they're probably not even looking at the legitimate experiences they have. It's just so complicated. So when it comes to unity and stuff like that, I'm like, good luck. I'm just going to keep doing my thing and reach who wants to reach and hang out with us and have a good time and do what we do. And the same thing with yourself. Like, there's going to be people who are just going to be like, oh, no, you're wrong. But I guess, it's not going to stop you from doing it.
You know what I say to those people? You know what? You're right.
Smile and nod and keep going.
Yep.
Yeah. They're everywhere.
Or another one. That may be so.
I want to go out in the field with you sometime. I want to go, just for one investigation or something, come and get on your crew and go do some work with you that way.
Shit, to be honest, too, I'd like to kind of come to you. I mean, you're in Arizona. See, so did I tell you about the peyote experience I had in Arizona?
I think we touched on it at one point.
Yeah, so it was an incredible experience. Supposedly from that experience, I have a half-alien child and all kinds of other shit. So I don't know how true that is, but it was just a really cool place. And I've actually got artifacts. There was a woman who, I don't know, she kind of just fell off the map. But when we first started doing the radio show, she actually lives somewhere in Arizona. I have to go and look at the box and figure out where exactly it was. But she used to go to all these old deserted towns and old just crazy things, and she sent me a box of old arrowheads, different old native pottery, and different artifacts she would find in these places. So I've been extremely intrigued with going back to that area, just more in the paranormal aspect, and try to do some investigating out there. So maybe it might be more at some point coming to you, because I would just love to come out there, talk about being in the desert and stuff, and maybe trip a little bit. And
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I didn't know if I turned my camera around. Hold on.
There you go.
Can you see me?
Yes,
Yep,
we can. You're back.
Again. You're back.
You're back with us. Yeah, so
There. What it is
all right, you got
I'm adjusting. I managed to grab some gappers and take my phone to my microphone stand so that I didn't have to sit here and hold my phone for 2 hours.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry. I know you had to jury rig it. At some point, we'll have to probably change the batteries anyway, so we can take a little break, and maybe we can try to see if you can connect on the computer if that's easier. Maybe just like power your phone completely down, and maybe try to call us from Skype, whatever. That'll be easier for you, because at some point we definitely have to change our camera battery, because it only lasts for like 2 hours. I don't know how much more time we have.
That's cool. That's working.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we got at least another
Oh, okay.
probably
Yeah.
half hour.
Well, I was just giving her a heads up.
change it,
Yeah. If yeah, like a half hour, we have to change it. So whatever. We'll keep doing what we're doing. We can hear you and everything like that. Having a good,
I can
cool
change
conversation.
the camera and you guys can keep going.
Oh, that's true too.
Still
Yeah.
too. So
All right, yeah. We good.
We can keep going. Don't
We
worry.
can keep
I got
going.
this. I do all this over here.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
already.
you can only see me doing all the stuff I do.
Yeah.
Can't see everybody else in here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So Natasha, so let me Mysterious Forces. Why that name? Why choose that name? Cause you do it.
Natasha?
I'm sorry.
Which name?
Well, I don't know if Natasha's your name. You maybe have a different name. I was saying the title to your show.
Oh yeah, no. I just want to make sure I heard you.
Got you.
Yeah, I mean, I make no secret of being transgender. I'm a proud trans woman, and I don't shy away from that. And everyone's journey is an individual journey, and people will select a name that is very closely related to their original birth name was, and some people go far away from that, which is what I did. I just like the name Natasha. I've got a sense of humor, and I always thought of Boris and Natasha on the Bullwinkle. And I thought Natasha Badenoff was just a cool character, but I didn't name myself after a cartoon, but certainly the last name Nyxx. Nyxx is the goddess of the night, and she was the mother of Zeus, and within the realm of Nyxx, everything existed. And Nyxx was the only other deity that Zeus actually feared. He feared to anger Nyxx. Within her robes was the night sky and the heavens and the galaxies and the manifest universe. And she was such a powerful mythological person, and it's not an act of hubris on my part to name myself after such a powerful mythological person. Not that I'm not saying that that's me, and or trying to imply somehow that I'm deserving of that level of a name. But it gives me something to aspire to, and it's a name that actually meant something to me. Something that came from within me, and not just something that was imposed upon me from without.
Yep.
And in the course of transitioning and selecting my name and going through the process that I've gone through, I did have an incredible sense of self-actualization. It was so powerful to just finally be myself and kind of present myself and interact with the world in an authentic way instead of what was kind of a fake way in the past. And so that was the inspiration. I'm not claiming to be a person deserving of goddess status. It just inspires me to have something to live up to.
Why not? You are a goddess. We are gods. You are gods. We are all gods and goddesses. We are. Listen, that's one thing we talk about all the time. We could spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours breaking all that stuff down. I mean, again, because some people get offended when you say words like that. But just do some research. Even Jesus told us we were gods. Even Jesus, you can go look up these words. Maybe if you're not reading your Bible, your Torah, your Quran, whatever, right? It tells us what we are, where we're from, even if we are the child of God, we are a product of God that makes us gods. So to use that name and stuff like that, anybody who doesn't understand the power of the name and what it's supposed to, again, inspire you to be a god, to act accordingly, to live like a god, what we are, not sit on a fucking throne and have others worship you and rule over others. That's not what it is. We're supposed to live together. Our energy is supposed to be together. We are supposed to be one, not all this separate bullshit, not all this petty fighting, not all the dumb and war and everything, the crusades and everything that are still being fought. Listen. Again, we are gods and goddesses, so there's nothing wrong with that name. So anybody has a problem with that name, just tell them to go do some research. They have all these smartphones and smart devices. You're listening and watching on these smart things. Don't be dumb. Use them, folks. Don't take our word for it. She tells you she's a goddess. She's a goddess. Understand why. Not because she thinks you're supposed to worship her and start all of a sudden following the Nyxx religion and go to a Nyxx church and all that type of stuff. It's because you're supposed to aspire to be great, because we are great. Just saying.
No, in terms of each human being carrying some inherent dignity as a spiritual being and as being a quote-unquote child of God, however you define the term God. I absolutely believe in that. We each carry a spark of mind within us. Whatever that means to you, that can mean a lot of different things, and that's why I always try to see that in people who are less fortunate than myself. And I always, I make judgments about other people just like everyone else, and I have my foibles, sure. So I'm not trying to pretend like I'm above, even sometimes being guilty of petty judgments or whatever, just like everyone else. But I also am very mindful about that and always have an awareness for everyone like that. And I see people that are less fortunate than me. I always try to keep that in mind. And then, when I see people who are wealthy and more successful, sometimes you can kind of put those people on a pedestal, or, in your own mind, you elevate them above yourself because of maybe just you have materially or whatever. And that's also a misstep. And so I think that focusing on the divine within all of us and focusing on the potential that we all have as beings, and by that I mean, psychic abilities and other kinds of what I consider to be just extensions of human consciousness. It's all valid, it's all there, and it's up to each individual to look within themselves and find that. And hopefully we try to find that in other people, maybe not so much within ourselves, but to see that in other people. That would go a long way towards making a better world. And to keep going on, but I don't want to be utopian about it either, because at the same time, and there seems to be a group of people right now, there really is a clash of cultures in the world, and it wasn't really over 9/11 and the clash between the Muslim world and Western civilization. It's a clash between classes and status, I think.
They're old wars that are still being fought. They never stop fighting them. They've been fighting them for a long, long time, and they still fighting them. They don't know why anymore. It's just one of those things. It's like when you send a message to somebody and it gets convoluted by the time it gets back to you. That is exactly what has happened at this point. They're still mad about something that happened way back when, or somebody didn't go along with something, or somebody wants somebody's land, or somebody took somebody's land, or somebody's God is better than somebody's God, and all this petty shit. They're still fighting them. They've never stopped fighting them. They just don't know why anymore. It's like a video game to them at this point. They can just sit up there and shoot drones and shit, autonomous vehicles that go out there and do killing and everything for them. It's just one big video game at this point. It's Call of Duty. If you ever play Call of Duty, I'm no disrespect to the military, what they do, because they are not by any means toy soldiers. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you watch it, that's just kind of what it's become. Like they're still doing it. They've never stopped doing it.
Yeah, I agree, and it's hard to be one of the people who are looking for some kind of interconnectivity with other people and maybe the universe, and then come up against these people, and I don't do politics on my show, and not trying to insert politics into your show either, but based on the conversation we're having, I can't help but say, a Donald Trump, a Jeff Sessions, Lindsey Graham, Vladimir Putin, all of these right-wing people all around, they're never going to understand. Like, something drastic would have to happen for those people to open their hearts and open their minds and see some other possibilities. Those people are already completely motivated by greed for power and having power for power's sake. It must be intoxicating. I can only imagine what it would be like to have endless cash flow and have people fall at your feet. But I wouldn't want that. I don't.
Natasha, the only thing I have to say is the only thing I have to I kind of disagree with is I don't think it's a left-right thing. I think the left is no better than the right. They all have agendas. They're all wealthy, not even rich, powerful people, the people on top of those parties. If you look at the left, you say Trump, you can look at Hillary, you can look at their track records and stuff of what they do, the stuff that follows these people and everything. We could talk about that for days. I don't think it's a left-right thing. I think it's all the other people who are thinking with their hearts. We have to explain it. Yeah, sorry, we have a different idea of what the heart is now, but that's a whole other thing. I'll explain that to you some other time. But
that's a whole other show.
They're just smart people like yourself. They're smart people like ourselves. We're not being controlled either way. I don't care about a left. I don't care about a right. I care about how the whole bird flies, how it's going to fly together, how it's going to accomplish things together. Those are the important people. I don't have an argument for a left or a right person. I'm not for or against either one of them. I don't care. They exist to continue that fight. They exist to continue everybody in the middle of them to continue fighting to pick a side, pick a side, pick a side. Everything is pick a side, pick a side. You don't have to pick a side. You have to figure out the side that is right is just be in that middle and figure out how to do your thing and spread your light and find other like you said, it's kind of hard to find people who are like-minded and have these conversations, but that's why things like Contact in the Desert exist. As trivial as some people think it is to spend your money and time to go to places like that, the benefit is meeting someone like you, us getting to sit down and have a conversation. All those thousands of other people who are gathered there who weren't there to judge. They were there to listen. They were there to have open minds. There are still going to be some people who are skeptic and stuff, and that's fine. But the idea is to have these conferences, these get-togethers, these podcasts, these conversations, these get-togethers to sit around and be able to talk about these things. And that's how you find other people who are like-minded, other people you can have these conversations with and not be stuck on politics all day. We can talk about all the other things that come out of that paranormal, again, part of it I was talking about. You could sit here and talk about Space Force. Again, why are they shutting down observatories? Nobody finds that odd, not just one, but 7 of them at the same time. And they're being federally guarded in Black Hawk helicopters and all this type of stuff. So within all that politics, there's the paranormal. Those are the conversations that we're having, and those are the people I want to talk to. I don't know what other people they want to have politics conversations. Good luck. You know, I'm going to talk about the other stuff that comes from it.
I get it, and I just want to briefly say I really agree with you. And if I represented myself as being partisan, I'm not. My viewpoint is very much like yours. I think that there are flaws on both sides. But I'm intensely fascinated by the Sunspot Observatory being shut down. I'm glad you brought that up. And I know that you were talking about it earlier, and I think that the ufology community should really focus in hardcore on what is going on, because this is like the first overt demonstration of how the government might seek to control information should some kind of discovery or some element of disclosure come to the fore. And for them to go in and shut down that observatory, down the post office, and explain to no one, not even local law enforcement, why what they're doing, what's going on. It's highly suspicious. And as you mentioned, the larger network of webcams for some other observatories were also cut at the same. And these UFO organizations that have some means, whether they have financial means or investigators or whatever, they should be sending best people to that location right now to investigate what's going on. I feel like it could be really important, and they can only cover this up so much because, you know, I'm kind of curious as to what kind of silly cover story they could possibly come up with for shutting down that observatory.
Well, the idea too is just not just shutting it down. Like, clearly there were workers and stuff there. Whatever they were possibly looking at or investigating or hearing or seeing, somebody would have seen something. So at the same time they shut it down, what did they say to these people? Like, you know, if you fucking open your mouths, whatever, you know what's going to happen, your family, blah, blah, blah. Is someone going to leak some stuff? And then there's these weird pictures. And again, I can't validate this picture that's circulating the internet. It's one individual. You would think that possibly more people, because the sun is highly watched thing. I mean, with Soho, and then I don't know, one's on the front, one's on the back. So it's not like they don't have these things that you can literally watch 24 hours a day that are monitoring the sun. So for one person to capture it is kind of an oddity. I guess maybe they just have the special camera on that special day and happen to be watching it. I don't know. But at the same time, it's just very odd. Like you said, they go in and shut these things down with no information. Something's going to happen. Again, the ufology community is extremely large and very powerful, and there's a lot of people who are ex-military, who still have current ties and stuff. Stuff will get leaked out. Let's just hope that by the time it's filtered out to us, we actually have some accurate information as what the hell's going on. Because it's odd time, too. Space Force and Elon Musk and all these rockets and shit constantly being launched. Like, there's a whole lot of activity that people aren't really paying attention to. And even for Agent Orange to be the one talking about Space Force, we're going to have this fabulous Space Force. It's all kind of time. And again, it could be Project Bluebeam. Maybe that's their whole push. Like, let's have a little light show in the sky, or Jesus or some aliens or something get projected in the sky, and they have high quality sound, and it's so real that people get scares the shit out of them. And who knows what's going on? I don't know. This is all really odd. You're gonna have to monitor the situation and see what happens or what information comes from it.
I'm monitoring that story very closely. I also heard someone give an opinion in their own video on online earlier today that the object that was seen in the photograph was the moon transiting in front of the sun between the Earth and the moon, which makes sense, but I don't claim either way what the photograph showed. On a nuts and bolts level, in terms of science, the moon transiting in between makes sense, but that's also could be used as a very easy excuse to cover up some other real explanation.
The moon's a satellite anyways. Michael Jackson's up there. He's alive. He performs every night. I'm good. So yeah, whatever with the moon. Anyways, the moon, when they have the eclipses and all that type of stuff, that's because they're doing maintenance. They're changing light bulbs and stuff. They got to change them big, powerful LEDs and stuff that they use to power the moon. So that's when it eclipses, and when it turns red, it's just a light show. They're like, you know what? Look at the moon behind me. See what it's doing? Well, you can't see it right now, Natasha, but everybody who sees it knows how the show goes. Michael's on the moon. The moon's behind me. It turns different colors. That's what they did. Give us a good light show. Let's make a blood moon. Okay, cool. Meteor showers are when all the aliens come and go. It's either that or maybe it's souls. Like, because people always say, well, what makes souls? Where do souls come from? Maybe those meteor showers are actually when the souls arrive, the new souls and shit. And then babies are born throughout the year, and they get to check out Earth and everything. Have a little time here before we leave and go someplace else. I don't know. Just saying, jiggy thoughts. But the moon's definitely there's aliens. They got a casino on the moon. They got a hotel on the moon. Vacation spots, they got indoor pools, they got everything up there. You can play golf on the moon, you can go to the movies, like all the latest movies that come out here, they're on the moon. And like IMAX is nothing, like you got to see Moon Max. Like Moon Max is the shit. Like when you really sit down there in the movie, it's not even a screen, it's just like all of a sudden like you're there, like in the, like when they're making the movie and shit, like you walking around and shit, like it's a real experience. Okay, the moon is just some crazy shit. Just saying. Sorry, I know, I'm just ranting. It's kind of what I do.
Just don't sprinkle moon dust into your blunt.
Why not? You give me some moon dust. That might be the shit. Like, that might be the ultimate. You know what? That'd be cool shit if, like, Buzz Aldrin, because he's the last one, be like, you know what? I've been smoking moon dust in my blunts. I even gave Willie Nelson and Snoop Dogg some. That'd be some shit. We don't know. Moon dust might be the ultimate high. Like, it might, like, take you where mushrooms take you. Like, or DMT and shit.
Imagine.
Yeah, exactly. See, we don't know. See? Mm-hmm. Yeah, get a hold of some of that moon dust. Well, they ain't giving that stuff out. They taking that shit back. They're taking back everything that they gave out from the moon landing. Because now they're like, shit, they figured it out. It was faked. Those guys didn't go to the moon. We've been to the moon, but it wasn't those dudes. We just wanted the Russians to believe those dudes went there. Mm-hmm. That was some dust. They know where that dust was? From Bayou in Arizona somewhere. Or New Mexico, one of those places out there, like in the desert, where they could those dudes went up in their little ship and everything, and when they got up there, they just gave them some gas. They passed out for a minute and like didn't even realize that they passed out, woke up and shit, and they were like, oh, cool, like this moon is awesome looking. They don't even realize. You ever see the Twilight Zone episode? It's my favorite Twilight Zone episode. Is when they send these guys in a spaceship, and the spaceship crashes in the desert somewhere, and the astronauts don't know that they crashed in the desert, and one of them's hurt, and one of them gets desperate, and he's like, I gotta survive, I need all the water, like I gotta, and they basically they kill each other, and then there's one left, and he walks over the hill, and he walks on the other side of the hill, he sees civilization, he sees like a gas station and a road and everything. What have I done? What have I done? Idiot. I'm telling you. Stanley Kubrick. That's sad, though. That's one thing that's sad, though, because now that we know that he had something to do with even faking any part of that moon landing, like maybe just some of the filler where they just was like, we fucked up, we need some filler. He should have got an Oscar. Like, that's sad that he went to his grave not getting the proper awards and attention for his greatest work. Okay, and I'm not saying all the moon landing was fake. I know we've been to the moon and stuff, all my beliefs and stuff. I just don't think that those dudes and how they said that happened, and if they did, some of it was like, what? Why don't we just let them go around the moon and we could just film the rest of it and fake it or whatever, and really, this shit ain't going down to the moon. Like, if we let these guys go down this little paper thin thing and shit, they're not coming back up. So at least we can do is let them circle the moon, and we'll fake the rest of it and bring these cats home or something. But yeah, Stanley Kubrick, rest in peace, but he didn't get his best awards. That's sad. Sad.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. I personally believe that we went to the moon. I kind of fall into the school. I've heard Linda Moulton Howe and some other folks talk about some things that Neil Armstrong had said in confidence to people that he was close friends with, or that he kind of vaguely refused to comment on what they had seen on the moon. But there's some speculation that the reason Neil Armstrong was so low-key after the moon missions, he didn't really seek fame or fortune. He kind of went out and did the publicity tour, and he shook hands with folks and all that, and they had a few parades. But after that, he stayed very low-key and led a very private life. And people speculate that it's because they encountered aliens on the moon that traumatized him in fashion, or maybe he had a lot of integrity and didn't want to lie to people, so he then put himself in a position where he had to lie about what they had seen. And I also believe that they could have faked some filler footage and some of the photographs just to make it more tangible for public consumption. Yeah. And also, really, to throw the Russians off, I wouldn't put anything past the motivations of the United States during the Cold War. We would have done anything to fuck the Soviets over, and we did do everything to fuck the Soviets over, and it wouldn't surprise me. So yeah. I think there was a little bit of all that going on. I think there was some fake photographs, maybe some footage, and I think that there was huge cover-up about what the astronauts saw once they got there. I think they were warned off the moon.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. We think that the footage we saw was they were like, oh shoot, we can't show them what really happened up here, so we'll go with this footage here that we shot with Stanley and everything like that. Cause they landed and they were like, yeah, no, don't go with that. Just do something else. And they cut to the other shit, and they're like, yep, here they are on the moon. B-roll. But there's definitely something up with it, so.
I had a tour of Kennedy Space Center earlier this year, back in the spring, and it was fascinating. I had a really good time, and it was very eye-opening to see objects from the moon, to see the spacesuits covered in moon dust, and I've always been a big fan of the space program. I think that reaching into outer space is one of the highest endeavors for humanity. I think that when we explore space and push our boundaries beyond this planet, I think that when we do that, when we engage in that activity, that we're living up to our highest potential.
I agree. My problem is that for so long, I feel like we were so far behind. like NASA and stuff like that, like they just underwhelmed me. Like, you know, it's like watching, like the last thing I really was supposed to be really cool and overwhelming was when Krista McCullough and her crew went up, and I was in high school, and I remember my whole school shut down. Everybody was watching it on TV, and you see this extremely huge, horrible accident happen and failure. And then from that point, it's like, okay, yeah, you guys have keep launching these space shuttles, and you keep launching these satellites, but why aren't you going back to the moon? Oh, we don't have the money. Well, you got tons of fucking money. You're just not spending it on something that people really want to see. Like, you did it once, supposedly, and, you know, it was such an incredible thing. And then after that, you know, you couldn't see the footage. They showed it once. It's not like now we can go on YouTube and put up the footage and watch it over and over again and stuff. They showed it once, and it probably maybe a few times over years, and then it became accessible to the public. But you think that you'd want to aspire people to keep doing that, like being an astronaut and stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool to go in space and spacewalk and get and fly around the Earth and the space station and stuff, but why aren't we doing anything else? And now you have all this private sector stuff, the Elon Musk, the Virgin Galactic and stuff, and these people who are putting their own money behind it and stuff, and they become the poster children for it, where I just feel like you guys have let me down for so long. You know, at this point I felt like, you know, shit, we should have the Enterprise. Like, we should have been doing something else. Like, you showed me Star Trek, you showed me all this incredible stuff. You know, what happened? Like, you guys have let me down. Even now, still, we're going to Mars, we're going to Mars, we're going to Mars. Can we get to Mars already? And can it not be 6 months or 18, whatever long it takes? Can we do it with something faster, please? Because we know you guys got this stuff. You know it exists. You know you guys have been working on it for a long time and hiding it. Just let it out. Your Space Force, whatever, that's what it's going to be. That's fine, Agent Orange. Let the Space Force show us I think he's just mad because it's probably the USS Obama or some shit. And he's like, no, they can't be the name of the spaceship. We have to change it. It's got to be the Trump. If it's going to be the best spaceship ever to go out there and do the thing, you got to name it after me. I want my own name on it. I think that's his problem right now. He's working to get it changed. Once they change it, then you ever see Iron Sky? That was actually, there's a movie called Iron Sky where the Nazis were on the moon and the Nazis came back, and we were already prepared. Like, every country already had spaceships and everything, but ours was the USS Obama, and it went and fought the Nazis. If you've never seen this movie, it was on Netflix. Watch this movie. It's an incredibly well done movie. It's a great sci-fi flick. If you're into sci-fi, go watch this movie, please. But yeah, that was the idea. So maybe that was it. Maybe he doesn't like the name of it, but I just like, can you overwhelm me at this point? Can you show me a hyperdrive? Can you show me something? Like, can we just do this? Can we take a nice cruise through space to Mars and everything? There could be a pool in there and stuff, and movies and bowl and everything, and walk on the deck and everything and see space. Like, enough already. Like, we spend money on war and everything. Fuck war. Like, stop fighting. Let's go out there and explore. Let's do something. You're right. I think that is what man was destined to do, that we're just far behind. And maybe it is the reason. Maybe when we did go to the moon and they were like, listen, Neil, you three dudes, like, they sent y'all, like, that's funny as shit. But anyways, y'all need to go back to Earth and tell your little leaders, oh wait, you know what, even better, let me see your little raggedy ass camera. Hey, look at me real quick. Hey, see me? Don't bring your asses back here, alright? Like, you ain't got no business up here. And if you come back, then we're going to come back down there. We're going to fuck y'all up again, because we already did it a few times. If y'all didn't learn, no, this is the problem, because y'all come up here. Just go someplace else. Y'all want Mars? Go to Mars. We left y'all some relics and some bullshit up there, like on Earth. That will keep y'all busy another couple thousand years trying to figure out all the shit you find on Mars. But don't come here. This ain't your place. Keep it moving. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Just saying.
You know, my opinion as kind of a lay person, like, I know that they could send someone to Mars. What people don't realize is a trip to Mars is not 6 months there and 6 months back. It's a 2-year trip.
Yeah.
Because they can only send ship from the Earth when it's an Earth are at their closest proximity. And then they move away from each other. It takes a full 2 years for Earth and Mars to line back up to where the shot back would be the shortest possible distance back to the Earth. So that's a 2-year round trip. And we don't know how to generate oxygen out of an atmosphere like that. And, you know, we could probably build a big ship. But I think that we could build a base on the moon and kind of get on Earth there and learn how to exist on another terrestrial body. That
it works good on block
and then move on from there.
It's not even streaming on YouTube right now. This is a record.
Hold on 1 second, Natasha. So what should we do? Should we kill Blog Talk? Oh wait, we'll kill Skype, right? And we have to re-Skype.
No, I can kill I can kill Blog Talk, but
What's going on in the chat room? Is it?
We're having a little bit of technical. We're just having a little technical difficulties. We're trying to fix right now. Give us 1 second, please. So if you need to do that, then do that.
you want me to do that to Blog Talk?
I don't know. You tell me what's easiest right now.
That's the only way I can see it starting to work again.
Yeah, we can. I mean, if that's what you want to do that then.
So, what was some of the music you were playing at the break before the top of the hour? I was digging some of that.
Those are actually some of the artists. Like I don't know if you got to meet or listen to Billy Carson. He was there. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry, you're gonna hear that for a second. We're killing one aspect of the show to keep the YouTube live stream going and everything, keep it going properly. So hopefully it goes back live for everybody. So those I don't know if you like Billy Carson, Dr. Billy Carson, because he's definitely coming in, but he has a record label called Pantheon Elite Records. So those are various artists, most of the music for his record label. They're just conscious rappers who talk about, if you listen to a lot of the words and stuff, the beats are awesome, but the words are paranormal stuff and a lot of the stuff that we talk about here on the show. So when we play the artists, we like to play artists whose music resonates with what we talk about here, and whose music's going to raise your frequency, raise your vibration and stuff, keep your energy up, rather than all the other bullshit rap that's out there that I don't necessarily like, but I don't shit on it. They make whatever they like. But yeah, so we play their music and stuff, and we've actually had a few of them on the show and stuff as guests and everything. So it's that's what we like. We like to play music that, again, just keeps you guys thinking. Listen to the lyrics, learn something new if you haven't heard it before.
No, that's cool. That's super cool. Hey, I know that you've been out in the field. I don't know if you want to talk about much of this because it might be under wraps or whatever, but I've been curious about some of these investigations that you've been doing lately. Can you drop any hints as to what we might see in the future from what you've been doing?
Excuse me, what's good? Well, we shared some of the stuff is actually shared online on YouTube. We've gone live from some of the places. There's a jail that we had access to that people actually get to see that footage and stuff eventually. Well, soon. All the footage will go out. We did here. It's called the Bridgewater Triangle, it's a huge. We only covered once. I've been to one place, but we went as a group collectively to a second area where we did a lot of shooting that night out there. It's called the Freetown Forest. In this area here, anything you could think of from the first. Well, there's a dispute as to where the first UFO sighting definitely happened in Massachusetts. We're just not sure if it was there somewhere in the Freetown Forest we were at, or if it's actually the Muddy River, which is now the Charles River. But we still have to do a little bit more research to find out which one is accurate. But you could find there's Bigfoot sightings there, again, UFOs. We have something here called pug wedgies, which are like these little fat-looking things that only exist supposedly in this area. I've never heard anybody else speak of pug wedgies anyplace else but around here. But pug wedgies, ghosts, obviously, Native Americans. There's the land was taken from the natives or something there. Which, if you kind of understand the history of Massachusetts too, and I say this to people all the time, and people kind of get mad or get offended when I say that, when it comes to the history of this country, the Pilgrims, they landed here and kind of started out from there and did their thing here with the Native Americans. They just moved everywhere. They started settling on land. The natives are like, listen, we don't settle on that land. We don't live there. This is sacred land. There's portals there. There's this there. There's that there. But, you guys do what you want to do. And then they kind of spread out there, and, witch trials and murder and just killing off the indigenous people and everything. So when it comes to a lot of what you would consider to be haunted and all this shit that goes on, you don't have to look any further than this area. And the Freetown Forest is just one example of just a whole lot of firsts. And a lot of firsts just in New England, period. The first alien abduction case that was like pretty much on record is Betty and Barney Hill. That was in New Hampshire, and just so many firsts happen here. So that's a lot of what we're doing. But we're also at the same time, as we've gone to places like Dudley Road, which we'll be going back to soon, and some of the places that people know, we've also found places that people have never had access to, and places where people haven't gone. So that's a lot of the stuff you're going to see coming up from us. So that's what a lot of the tidbits you would see on our social media and on YouTube. You'll kind of get a first look at some of the stuff that we've been doing, but then you'll get to see it in its entirety.
That's cool. Yeah, I had seen some of the jail stuff, and I knew that you'd been putting stuff, live. I thought you were also doing some stuff, putting it in the can for later broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've shared a lot of the stuff we've done. We've shared bits and pieces of it, so we haven't really hidden anything. We've kind of let people go along with us just so they get an idea of what we're doing and where we've been. It's not really anything we feel like we need to hide. We just, we like people to kind of go along the journey with us. So, and that's for the people who watch. I mean, clearly anybody who's paying attention, is going to see that stuff first, and people, I guess, who come and get into it later will see it later. So it's just keeping everybody who supports us along for the journey and let them kind of see stuff firsthand first.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry. Did you hear what I said, though?
I did. Yeah, it kind of faded out at the end, but I got the gist of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Excuse me. That's the weed, Natasha.
Well, it's what you said, but I just I didn't catch it if you did. What's taking you to California in a couple weeks? Are you doing investigations, or what's going on?
I'm going to the Portal to Ascension conference. So just going there for the conference, just to kind of link up with some people again. And there's some stuff I'm doing that I really can't talk about. But yeah, so there's different reasons, but Portal Ascension is pretty much the main reason. So just another conference, and I had such a good time at Contacting the Desert. I said, I think that people who are really into this stuff, who like the spectrum of paranormal. Again, there's ghost conferences, there's Bigfoot conferences, but I think if you like the gamut of it, and especially again when you're talking about light workers and meeting and talking with people who in the community are trying to spread a good message and have conferences that people can go to and be able to link up with people. Like that was the thing about Contacting the Desert. Like it was all these vendors and stuff, but they were the products they were pushing. Well, I won't say pushing because that's a bad word. The products that they were displaying and selling and stuff were products, of healing and stuff, things that, crystals and different ways and different things, CBD oil and stuff, and different things that people may not normally think about and come in contact in their daily life. So for folks who went there already knowing what to expect, it's cool, but people who went there not knowing what to expect, they get a little glimpse into a different side of the world, and they get to find, real, I think, more genuine people. Again, I think if you go to a psychic convention, there's going to be a whole lot of, and within that, there's probably going to be a small percentage of genuine people. But when you go to something like Contacting the Desert, you find genuine people who are trying to have a genuine conversation or have a genuine quest for knowledge. They want to understand why these people, are on YouTube. Why you get to literally sit and talk to these people and have up close and personal time with these people who you're seeing talking. A Giorgio Tsoukalos, a Billy Carson, a Nick Pope, and all these different people who are there. Lyndall Moulton Howe. Instead of just listening to them on the radio or seeing them on YouTube, you actually get to have a personal experience with them. And through that personal experience, they have Q&As and stuff. So you get to kind of either you walk away like, damn, I learned some more and I'm more in on this, or you might walk away and be like, fuck it, I just think it's all bullshit. I don't see that. I see more people just thinking, okay, cool, but within that too, again, there's more of a conscious community that's spreading things of heal yourself, smoke a little marijuana, do some psychedelics, do something that's going to expand your mind, expand your consciousness, heal yourself. Take care of yourself, stop with all the traditional bullshit that really isn't traditional. Go back to the old ways of healing yourself, taking care of yourself, positive thinking. Even you talked about the music earlier. You see much more push for artists who are trying to push positive messages. Music that's not going to, it's going to tune you right, like you feel good when you listen to it because it's on a positive frequency. It's programmed just right for what you need to be absorbing rather than all this negative energy. So that's why I'm going to Portal Ascension. So I just but it ties into like Contacting the Desert and getting a chance to go to the other side of the country. And I always talk about how the other half lives, like in the other countries I've been to, but the other side of this country, and get to just feel something different. Connect with some different people.
There's a pretty rich history of ghost hunting there on the East Coast, though, right? Wasn't Taps the guys that wound up on Spotify? Weren't they based in Massachusetts?
Yeah, the original So yeah, was that's Ghost Hunters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're from Rhode Island. Yeah, they're from Rhode Island. They were like Roto-Rooter or something originally, or they were plumbers in Rhode Island. And then Ghost Adventures. Now, I don't know where Zach's from, but Nick is actually from Massachusetts. And I don't know where Aaron's from either. But so the first kind of like two mainstream like big shows had roots in Massachusetts one way or the other, I guess. Well, in New England at least too, because Rhode Island's kind of, that's considered New England. They're not, you know, you don't want to diss them and be like, you know, they're boss, they're mass. They're not.
I think you should, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think you should come here and you and I should get together and bring whoever can come with you, and we should go up to Area 51 and go,
Hell no!
Hell yeah! You can't.
Hey, no, listen. Okay, listen. Again, you know, I'm a big target. I'm a big black man. I don't know how many black people have been to Area 51 poking around. I am not trying to have nobody come stick no guns in my faces and be like, "What are you doing here?" I'll go around.
Run right in. Me and her are gonna stick out like sore thumbs. Shot a spotlight on us. We fucking right up.
I'm just gonna stand still.
You're just gonna drop on the ground. They're not even gonna know you're there.
Wait a minute, I'm a little light skinned though. You know what I'm saying? Like they still might see me and shit. I might have a little reflection or something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'd go to whatever boundaries are legal. That's all I'm saying. I just know the history of people who fuck around in places like that. I don't need to be the person on the news and shit and my live stream and shit. I'm not going to jail. No.
It's all recorded, but this ain't live anymore. I don't know what YouTube's deal is. It won't connect with YouTube.
Black Paranormal Lives
It's all being
Matter.
recorded, so keep going.
What'd you say?
I said Black Paranormal Lives Matter.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the stuff that we do, like we're lucky. We shout out to our liaisons who are in law enforcement, who actually make calls and stuff and facilitate a lot of the stuff that we do, just so we don't step on anybody's toes. And make it a lot easier for us to investigate. You know, I just like to do that because I'm not a let's go run up in some random fucking place, do some illegal shit, and have the boys. They like people, you know, in the media are talking about don't waste 911's time, you know, calling them on black folks for barbecuing or for fucking living, whatever. The same thing, like anybody. Like, why are you going up in places where cops have to be called and then come and waste their time coming to a call? Where if you could just call them, one, they're going to tell you, well, yeah, you can go in there, that's cool, thank you for, you know, calling us and giving us a heads up. Or two, they're going to tell you, no, I'm sorry, that place is too dangerous. You know, we just don't suggest you go in there. That would be breaking the law. And then you say, fine, there's plenty of fucking places. Like, that's the paranormal field is the places, and there's just places I'll never do because they're just so overdone, where we just live in a place where you know history for some places, you know history for some things that go on, but we don't know who died where, who was killed where, everywhere. You know, you just know where people build houses and shit. How many people, you could be walking through where you live in the desert somewhere and just be standing there and not maybe doing some kind of investigation because you just randomly decide, you know, fuck, I want to do an investigation here and not realize you're within 10 feet of some dead bodies that were buried back there in the 60s or some shit, or buried, you know, a few weeks ago because somebody met their demise there. Or, you know, people on the desert. I've seen enough movies. I've seen Casino. I know what they do in deserts. I know what that goes on in Vegas and shit. They take them motherfuckers out in the desert, put two in their fucking head, or beat them to death and dig them and put them in small graves and shit. Shallow graves. Leave them out there, or leave them half alive or some shit in graves that they can't get out of. So, listen, just, you could pretty much, that's the thing. I don't know that going to the same places over and over again, doing investigating, you're legitimizing things, I guess, but you know, try something new too. I just go down some new roads and find some new places, and I guess Area 51 might be one. But again, once it says stop, you do not proceed past this point. Y'all go right ahead, but just make sure you're streaming live. But at least you know there's somebody back there that can go back and tell your story and everything in case you never, you know, show up again. You know, that's what I say. Like when we were in the jail, if you see the point where I wasn't going out on the thing because I said I have to stay back here and make sure that big ass door, some ghost doesn't come along and kick that door closed, and then we're stuck on the ledge. So see, that's how I think. You know, I'm the protective one. I'm the papa of the group. You like that?
I have to agree with you in terms of going back to the same old places. I personally want to go to Area 51 just more as a tourist thing, just to kind of like say I was there.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't expect to see anything. I think that they have moved operations elsewhere. I don't even think there's a lot of stuff going on there anymore.
I mean
it's too well known. And if they were smart, they wouldn't be doing anything there.
And so they supposedly built, like, Area 51 connects underground to other bases, and those connect to other bases and stuff too. So they're probably, Obama said it, like, you guys, there's nothing there. Trust me, I've been there. I got to go check it out. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but there's no aliens there. Okay, guys, move on. And they probably did move whatever. Like, you're right. At this point, like, yeah, you guys keep focusing on Area 51. You knock yourselves out. Keep focusing on Roswell. Keep focusing on all that stuff. We've moved on. That's cool. There's a base somewhere that there's people who work there that they don't leave, that nobody knows about yet. That base will come out in about 5 years. Like, you thought Area 51 was something? Wait till you see S level 7744321-A1. One man meant he was able to escape and tell his story of working in this base. They got some new crazy shit. All those booms, all the stuff that we hear and see, and people, it has a lot to do with them just building underground. That's why, again, Elon Musk is the poster child for all this stuff. Okay, and I can't even imitate him yet. I got to watch him a little bit more. But I'm going to build this underground tunnel for cars and everything. The smart thing is to go. He said it. If you go to his Joe Rogan's podcast, a lot of what Elon Musk was talking about was, he was saying the obvious. Like, if you go low and you start building, because we live in a 3-dimensional world, that if you start building things under, then you can do things in a different way. So yeah, you're saying to put cars under there. If they're willing to let him start digging under there and doing what he's doing, you better believe they've already dug all the other stuff. And then there's already, below all these major cities, if you do research, there's already structures and tunnels and underground mazes and stuff that are built underneath all these cities anyways. Most people don't even know what's under their cities. They don't do the research and stuff, and then people start finding these tunnels and go around. One of the oldest things, I grew up next to, the next street over was Harriet Tubman's house was. That's in history. Everybody knows about Harriet Tubman, but doesn't realize what an underground railroad. What, you thought she had a train? You thought she was a choo-choo. Everybody can load a train. There's a tunnel under here. They're going to build a train. Let's go, folks. I'm going to just hit here and pilot this train. No, there's tunnels. There's underground tunnels that connect cities, that connect everything all the way up to Canada. That's what they were doing. They weren't they weren't digging the tunnels like she didn't have people, I've been working on the railroad, under there with spoons and shovels digging tunnels. These things were already existed. They just knew that they were there. So that these people are building stuff underneath, and that's what's causing a lot of the sounds, the booms, and different stuff that people are hearing that they can't explain. Just saying.
Yeah, a year and a half ago, we had some booms. They were, you can look it up online, in Anthem, Arizona. We were laying in bed, we were awake, and there were 3 loud booms in succession. Boom, boom, boom. And they were so loud, I was absolutely convinced that someone had slammed something against the side of the house. It was that visceral. You could feel the vibration of it. And I ran outside expecting to see a trespasser or something, and I saw nothing. And I reported in the local news, and I think it made on to a Security 10 video, and and I heard it firsthand. I would have sworn someone was banging on the house, on the side of the house. Exactly what it felt like. But then you go outside and there's nothing, and there's no explanation. There's the Air Force Base, they deny that it's a sonic boom or anything to do with any aircraft. And it didn't sound, I've heard sonic booms, and it doesn't sound like a sonic boom either. It's much more present, and that's another huge mystery that's going on right now. All of these noises in the air, the booms that you're talking about. And I think that underground construction could account for a lot of that. I'm on the same page with you on that.
Yeah, maybe they're preparing. Maybe it's all the movies we've ever seen about them building underground to go hide underground because something's coming. Who knows? They're shutting down observatories. They're doing all this shit. I guess if something's coming, I guess we better prepare to fight the aliens, or are they going to be the good aliens? Are they coming to say, what's up? How y'all doing? It's time for y'all to grow up, or we're here to give you better resources and show you all how to get along or whatever, or they're going to come here and we need Will Smith to step up and protect us, and then the Space Force will all of a sudden be like, you ever see Starship Troopers? Do you want to know more? This is my problem. Like, if this Space Force, I swear, if they make this Space Force and they're going out there with some super highly new alien movie looking machine guns to go fight whatever's supposed to be out there, good luck. I'm not signing up. Even if they would take 48-year-old Jiggy with metal in his leg and metal in his head and everything, and they'd be like, yeah, sign up because we need everybody. What kind of weapon am I getting? Are you giving me a laser gun? Am I getting like a lightsaber or something? Am I getting like even a cool bow and arrow? Like the arrow has some kind of a light thing that does something cool, whatever. But if you're giving me like some new advanced AK-47 for space, like the AK-47 1342 for space, no. Sorry. I just want some cool weapons.
That is a good motivator for doing something like that.
Right. You know, a spaceship that, like, you know, like how, first of all, the Space Force, like, again, is it going to be like Moonraker? Are they going to send you up in one of these old school shuttles and they open up the bay and all of a sudden you go out there and some space shoots with lasers? No, like, are we going to have like a cooler spaceship too? Can we fight somewhere on the planets somewhere? Maybe not Earth, so we don't fuck up Earth anymore. Can we like meet you all? Maybe that's what Mars is. Maybe like they were like sent out like, yo, you know what? We ready to throw down. Why don't y'all just meet us on Mars? Like, just come on up to Mars, get up here, we'll throw it down right here, everything can happen up here, send your Space Force up here, we'll send our force, and we'll see what's what. Maybe that's what it is, because, you know, that would be even better than I would go up there, but we still need better weapons and better spaceships. I'm just a little demanding when it comes to my space travel and space fighting.
As long as they stuff Donald Trump into one of the jumpsuits at some point.
Hell no! Why the fuck would you want him to go fight? We want to send our best and brightest and tough. Like, this dude got bone spurs. Like, I don't want him fighting for us. I'd rather go. I got metal in my leg and shit and everything, but I grew up in the streets. I done thrown down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want someone like me. Like, I don't want that dude. Like, that'd be like Starship Troopers. The first person that walks up is the first person that gets, like, ripped apart by the alien. No, that they're useless. We want good fighters.
No, I'm drawing a correlation between George W. Bush wearing the flight suit with the behind him. You know, that took a ride in a back seat and didn't do shit.
Yep.
And, you know, he's Mr. Mission Accomplished. And Trump and his fat ass, they would never send him into outer space anyway.
Nah, but hold up. See, the thing about Bush, though, because in Bush's defense, I've always felt like he was his parents' puppet. Like, they're like, you're just going to do this whether or not you like it. He wanted to stay in the military. They were like, nah, dude, we can't let nothing happen to you. You're a little bit too gung-ho. Like, you're the type of dude that's going to go over there and fuck up. We need you to come home or we can groom you for the future and shit like that. And I always think that's the type of dude, like, if you sat down and smoked some blunts with George Bush, he'd be like, shit, I'll tell you about aliens. I'll tell you about everything you want to fucking know. What do you want to know? Just don't tell nobody I told you, all right? Because I'll just deny I smoke weed with you and shit, and they're just going to come and take you out. Because if you know anything about my daddy, you know, even though he's, you know, on his way out, his people's are no joke. Because, again, that's one of the presidents, the only president, I think, other than maybe before his time, like Eisenhower and those dudes, Bush knew everything and still knows a lot. That's why that dude's getting old and feeble and grabbing butts and shit and everything and groping women. You know, they're just like, no, he's going to take some young chick who's just going to fucking be some reporter. He doesn't understand. They're going to honeypot him. And some young reporter's going to get him to tell her everything. That's why they guarding that dude. Because that dude, if you ever watch the X-Files, he is the smoking man.
Oh, yeah.
That is who that shit is based on. The father. That dude, so the son, I don't know, I like to give him a pass, but he just always looked like he felt so uncomfortable in his job. Like, why am I doing this? Like, why couldn't they have made Jeb do this? Why couldn't Jeb have been competent enough to be president? Like, I just, like, being governor was like, you know, I liked owning the fucking sports team. What do you own? The Houston Astros, I think, whatever. Like, that was cool, man. Like, he wanted to be Jerry Jones. He didn't want to do all this other shit. Like, that dude, I'm telling you. You ever any y'all chicks ever get high with that motherfucker and see if you can get him he knows everything. That's the smoking man. You know anything about the X-Files? I'm just saying.
He does know a lot of shit. Have you seen Jeremy Corbell's Skinwalker Ranch, The Hunt for the Skinwalker? Have you seen any of that yet?
No, I know that's like the big hype thing right now. I've seen like the previews for it. I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime or some shit. I just got to figure all this out because. But I'll watch it. I've heard a lot of stories about it and everything. The legend and everything of the Skinwalker Ranch is very, very. It's out there. I mean, anybody in the paranormal field, it's probably supposedly supposed to be one of the most paranormal places in this country at least. And there's a lot of. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That the place you were talking about there on the East Coast, your your triangle area there. It's kind of a correlation to that as well. And I did watch it. I watched it last night. And I'm not going to do any spoiler alerts or on your show. But I don't know. You're right. There's a lot of stories about it. And it was well done. I liked the style of the documentary. I liked the way it was done. But if you're familiar with the case, there was nothing earth-shattering revealed. It was maybe in some ways a little more about George Knapp and George Knapp's investigation of that than it was about revealing any really new details about the case.
Yeah, it's the thing about any place like that. It's my thing is I've never been there. My beliefs in portals and stuff. I mean, again, one day I'll just do a show. It's just going to be the Brockton episode. I don't know how I'll ever do it, but it's. I know where a portal, at least one portal is. I know that portals exist. I understand how some of them work, and some of them I don't understand how they work. I don't know anybody personally who's ever been there. I've never been there, so it's everything that comes out. It's like anything else. There's stories. The Phoenix Lights are one of the most fascinating stories that have, in my view, ever existed when it comes to ufology. It surpasses Roswell. It surpasses any of those type of things because it's something that was seen by so many people. My belief, I will tell you, I've said this for years, is that I think it was something of ours. I think that we launched something into space, and it was something so big and different things that were, because it was more than one thing, that they said, we don't, what else can we fucking do? Like, just launch it. Get it out of here, and we'll just let people speculate whatever. Then we'll come up with some cockamamie story. We'll have the governor or whatever that was, whoever the mayor or the governor, show up at a press conference with an alien suit and everything and make a big joke of it and stuff and just downplay it, but there's nothing we can do. This thing is so massive. We haven't perfected our cloaking system yet. Just get it out of here. It's got to go to space. It's ready to go to space, whatever the fuck that thing was. That's just my belief. Some people say that if you watch the patterns of the lights, that there's signals telling you about Orion's belt, because a lot of the lights, when 3 lights in succession, they look like the star constellation Orion, so there's supposed to be a hidden message in it. But it's one of those things that to me is something that was very real because it was covered by so many people. Skinwalker Ranch has had some fringe coverage on major news and stuff, but it's one of those. I haven't been there. The stuff that comes out of there looks great. It looks. I don't know if someone's flying drones. I don't know if they live at a place where it just happens to be the way certain planes or certain they may have. I don't know. And George Knapp, I loved him on Coast to Coast. I love him when he appears. I love listening to him talk. It's great that he's putting out this stuff, but like you said, it's still the same kind of recycled stuff until you pretty much give some maybe new. This is the thing too about a lot of those places like that. Like, give some new people, somebody, some new talent, I guess you could say, somebody who hasn't been there, somebody who is going to maybe approach it a little bit different than anybody else. Access to a place like that for some new investigating to be done. It's so dangerous. I hear all this about these places. Oh, you got to sign a waiver to go here. Or you shouldn't go to this place because it's so dangerous, blah, blah, blah. Grew up in the hood. I worked, all this work I've done, I've been shot, all this type of shit at work. All these human beings do the craziest shit. I'm more likely to believe in all these places just some human beings having a lot of fun at our expense. Until you give access to somebody new to view it, to put it out there, to go there and investigate and have an experience. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but that's just where I think something like that needs to kind of go. To keep reporting. You watch a lot of these documentaries on Netflix. I like to scan through the UFO documentaries and stuff. A lot of it is still a lot of recycled stuff. It's like, where is the new stuff? I don't understand, especially when it comes to UFO sightings in 2018, where you'll see a group of people. You'll hear them. Like, there'll be one person like, oh my God, dude, like, look at this. Or, oh, look at this. Like, look at the sky. Look at everybody. There's one camera recording, and there'll be 30 fucking people in the background. I see. And nobody else. All these people have cell phones. They record everything from World Star, but they are not recording an event. that they think they're looking up and they're all in awe about whatever, but you'll get one fucking camera angle. Now, Smoke King said something that maybe makes sense, that kind of resonated with me, that maybe it's the idea that when we have sightings with these things, that they don't want everybody to see them. Maybe they make it, or maybe some people are tuned in enough to be the only people to see that. And I know that's hard, because then you go down a whole different road. But that some people see it, and those are the people who record it, and the other people may be in awe. I don't know if that's what the effect is. Like, maybe, you know, this is like, okay, the rest of you motherfuckers shut down for a minute. You just kind of watch and be in awe, but don't be smart enough to pull out your smartphones and your cameras and anything that you do any other fucking time. I don't know, but it never makes sense to me. You know, I say that even when we're investigating, like, everybody, like, have as many fucking cameras as you can and stuff like that. When you see something in the sky, have the buddy system, folks. Everybody tell a friend, be a friend. Hey, dude, stop just watching and record, alright? Pull out your phone, man. I don't care if your battery's on 3%, you dumbass, because you should have had it fucking charged anyways, but use that 3% to record. So you have different angles and different people. Then when you have that evidence and you put it up on YouTube and stuff, you're like, oh shit. You know, like, okay, wow. That light in, like, Israel, I think it was over, like, the Holy Temple. It had something to do with, and I'm just paraphrasing. And that light that shot in the sky, and that shit was caught on, like, 10 different camera angles. Like, that shit, you're in awe when you watch a video like that. And they're like, well, watch this camera angle. And this is from the city police. And this was from the military base. And this was from the bakery down the corner. And all these angles caught this light that comes down, hovers above it, and then shoots up. That, to me, is, like, cool. They've got multiple camera angles. The Phoenix Lights, cool as shit. If you've never heard of the Phoenix Lights, which I don't know if you're into all this stuff, you haven't, go do a little research. Just type in Phoenix Lights and have fun. Enjoy all the video and stuff and all the accounts. There's even like an actor, I think it was Nicolas Cage, or somebody was flying his personal plane and happened to see the thing too. So it's incredible accounts. I'm sorry?
That was Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, thank you. So this, you type it in, go look. That stuff is what's cool to me. That's why I ask for the buddy system. Like, when you're out there, you see some shit. The other day, a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I'm walking out the store and I see a cross in the sky that was, most people are like, oh, biblical stuff. I'm thinking, oh, chemtrails. Like, these motherfuckers are so blatant with their chemtrails that they just literally, and I have the pictures online. Listen, I am no wizard when it comes to any of this technical shit. Jiggy don't got time to learn how to edit a picture of a cross, fake cross, fucking cloud in the sky, or go steal somebody else's shit. This is something I took, and I'm walking on, I'm looking, and other people looking, they start taking pictures. That's the type of shit that you do. Like, literally, but this chemtrail, like a cross in the sky. I'm like, these motherfuckers not even hiding them, but there's no such thing as chemtrails. They ain't spraying nothing up there. That's just the contrails and shit. Or that was skywriting. Fuck you if that was skywriting. That wasn't skywriting. That was some chemtrails, and they're like, hey, dude, you gonna have a little fun? Alright, just fly your big ass plane that way, and I'm gonna fly my big ass plane this way, and you just need to do